And in you, they want to take away our sovereignty. No posse status, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can change whoever. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate chop the system like Bruce Lee. And every person I kick, I be spitting the truth. If you trapped in the box, it's because your own doing. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston. And all you world leaders, who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the state of the union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane. But I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious to you, they the ones to blame. People's parents and teachers are one and the same. They all say I'm and then you, they want to take away our sovereignty. Posse camouflage, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can change whoever. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate chop the system like Bruce said. Every verse I kick, I'll be spitting the truth in. If you trapped in the box, it's because you're all new. And I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston. And all you world leaders, who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the state of the union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane. But I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious that you ain't the ones to blame. Because parents and teachers are one and the same. They all say I'm crazy, going insane. But I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious that you ain't the ones to blame. Because parents and teachers are one and the same. When I start to black out, they say trap you dead wrong. But the system won't change, they still writing dead songs. Break the Constitution to the thing dead gone. I can't believe that slavery lasted this long. And it really hits home when you start to lose jobs. Still looking for the truth, listening to Lou Dobbs. Grab a megaphone, start yelling at a few snobs. I'm a real patriot. Guess what? You not, and it's getting too hot. Man, I saw two cops give the Obama deception and said you watch. They said I sound like Tupac. Looking at his new watch, told me I was loitering. I had to move 2 blocks, had me wrapped up in chains. Yeah. Yeah. In the U, they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse comitatus, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked around, can change the weather. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever that happened to the movement. Cause I use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate, top the system like Bruce in. Every verse I kick, I be spitting the truth. If you trapped in the box, it's because your own doing. I'm out of this world. You better call on Houston and all your world leaders. Who the hell you think you fool? And then you, they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse comitatus, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained. In the U, they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse comitatus, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can change whoever. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in roundhouse karate, chop the system like Bruce. Every verse I kick, I'll be spitting the truth. If you trapped in the boxes because you're all doing. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston and all your world leaders. Who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the state of the union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious the youth ain't the ones to blame, but the parents and teachers are one in the In AU, they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse comitatus, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can change the weather. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate, chop the system like Bruce in. Every verse I kick, I be spitting the truth. If you trapped in a box, it's because you're on doing. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston and all your world leaders. Who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the state of the union. I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some changes.
Why do they keep singing the fucking hook? Oh my god.
Yeah. And then they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse comitatus, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can change the weather. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever that happened to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate, chop the system like Bruce in. Every verse I kick, I be spitting the truth. If you trapped in the box, it's cause you're home doing. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston and all you world leaders. Who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the State of the Union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth till I see some change. It's obvious the youth ain't the ones to blame, cause parents and teachers are one and the same. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth till I see some change. It's obvious the yeah, and you, they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse come and tell us they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing in God, trying to change the weather while we stuck in the matrix, still chained together, getting beat down, kicked round, can change whoever. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever that happened to the movement, cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate, chop the system like Bruce in. Every verse I kick, I'll be spitting the truth. If you trapped in the box, it's because you're on going. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston. And all you world leaders, who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the State of the Union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious the youth ain't the ones to blame, because parents and teachers are one and the same. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious the youth ain't the ones to blame, because parents and teachers are one and the same. When I started black out, they say trap you dead wrong, but the system won't change. They still writing dead songs, break the Constitution till the thing dead gone. I can't believe that slavery lasted this long, and it really hits home when you start to lose jobs. Still looking for the truth, listening to Lou Dobbs. Grab a megaphone, start yelling at a few snobs. I'm a real patriot, guess what? You not, and it's getting too hot. Man, I saw two cops get an Obama deception. It said too what? They said I sound like Tupac. Looking at his new watch, told me I was loyal and I had to move 2 blocks. Heavy wrapped up in chains, shackled down with 2 locks, so I had to shake the machine until the screws pop. Riding around town, putting blocks. And they wanna take away our sovereignty. No pasta comitatus, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather while we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can change whoever. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement, cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate, chop the system like Bruce said. Every verse I kick, got me spitting the truth. If you trapped in the box, it's because you're on glue. And no matter this world, you better call on Houston and all your world leaders. Who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the State of the Union. I'll say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious the youth ain't the ones to blame, because parents and teachers are one and the same. And they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse comitatus, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. How they playing God, trying to change the weather while we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can't change whoever. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement, cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate, chop the system like Bruce and every verse I kick, I'll be spitting the truth. If you trapped in the box, it's because you're on doing. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston. And all you world leaders, who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the state of the union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious the youth ain't the ones to blame, because parents and teachers are one and the same. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious the youth ain't the ones to blame, because parents and teachers are one and the same. When I started blackout, they say trap you dead wrong, but the system won't change, they still writing dead songs. Break the Constitution till the thing dead gone. I can't believe that slavery lasted this long, and it really hits home when you start to lose jobs, still looking for the truth. Listen. And they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse coming tight and they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kick round, can't change the weather. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate chop the system like Bruce. And every verse I kick, I be spitting the truth. And if you trapped in the box, it's because your own doing. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston. And all you world leaders, who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the state of the union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious that you think I must have blame. And they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse coming tight and they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can't change the weather. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate chop. And they wanna take away our sovereignty. No posse coming at us, they ain't got no apologies. Now everywhere I go, it's like a dark cloud follows me. Got me starting to think that it's hard technology. Now they playing God, trying to change the weather. While we stuck in the matrix, still chained together. Getting beat down, kicked round, can't change the weather. But I'ma see if I can make a change for the better. I'm the best thing ever to happen to the movement. Cause I'ma use my music to bring the youth in. Roundhouse karate chop the system like Bruce said. Every verse I kick, I be spitting the truth. If you trapped in the box, it's because your own doing. I'm out of this world, you better call on Houston. And all you world leaders, who the hell you think you're fooling? Cause you don't give a damn about the state of the union. They all say I'm crazy, going insane, but I'ma speak the truth until I see some change. It's obvious that you think I want to play, because parents and teachers are one and the same. They all yeah, 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 yeah. Dance. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth in lying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth in lying, so my If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. And the truth is so cold that sometimes I get the chills. And this world is so sick, it'll make you feel ill. But the only thing the doctor's gonna do is give you pills, prescribe you prescriptions for that addiction. The bar picture is the new crack, and you ain't gotta smoke it all. Just take Marinol. Everything synthesized, is where we're headed, y'all. And niggas in the clone, all the Bilderberg members. But the phoenix always gonna rise from the embers, like the winter solstice in the late December. 2012, Armageddon, just remember you're here for a purpose, and your life is worthless if you can't elevate your mind past the surface. Gotta smoke it all, just take Marinol. Everything synthesized, is where we're headed, y'all. And niggas in the clone, all the Bilderberg members. But the phoenix always gonna rise from the embers, like the winter solstice in the late December. 2012, Armageddon, just remember you're here for a purpose, and your life is worthless if you can't elevate your mind past the surface. Wake up all your shit. Become a new person, you are a living spirit, the creator made you perfect. Now is the perfect timing, I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Oh, I know 9/11 was an inside job, and a lot of people died, but you can't blame Allah. Muslims didn't plant them bombs, no planes hit the Pentagon, but you can't blame Bush either. He was just a pawn, and they hide all the facts, continue and carry on. So searching for the truth is like chasing leprechauns. If you want the problem solved, use Breed over Braun. I respect Alex Jones, cause the info wasn't wrong. If Barack Hussein Obama was a real savior, he couldn't fight the new world. perfect diamond. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth and lying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth and lying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill, and the truth is so cold that sometimes I get the chills. And this world is so sick, it'll make you feel ill. But the only thing the doctor's gonna do is give you pills. I prescribe you this, prescriptions for that addiction. If barbiturates is the new crack, and you ain't gotta smoke it all, just take Marinol. Everything synthesized, that's what we headed, y'all, and they gon' clone all the Bilderberg members, but the Phoenix always gonna rise from the embers like the winter solstice in the late December 2012. Armageddon, just remember, you're here for a purpose, and your life is worthless if you can't elevate your mind past the surface. Wake up all your chakras, become a new person. You are a living spirit that creator made you. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth and lying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth and lying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. I know 9/11 was an inside job, and a lot of people died, but you can't blame Allah. Muslims didn't play them bombs, no place hit the Pentagon, but you can't blame Bush either. He was just a pawn, and they hide all the facts, continue and carry on. So searching for the truth is like chasing leprechauns. If you want the problem solved, use brain over brawn. I respect Ellie Jones, cause the info wasn't on. If Barack Hussein Obama was a real savior, he couldn't fight the new world order on his own. And no, I'm not a psychic, but this jewel is priceless. Yeah, this war is gonna change the place you call home. But when you're in Rome, you gotta do as the Romans. But what about the Mayans? He's the island in the Stonehenge. Too much pressure and stress will make your bones bend. I hope you do your own research when the song ends. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. Yeah, now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth and lies, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth and lies, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect timing. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Oh, if you wanna know the real, you can read a dollar bill. And the truth is so cold that sometimes I get the chills. And this world is so sick, it'll make you feel ill. But the only thing the doctor's gonna do is give you pills, prescribe you this, prescription for that. Addiction to barbiturates is the new crack. And you ain't gotta smoke it all. Just take Marinol. Everything synthesized. That's where we headed, y'all. And they gon' clone all the Bilderberg members, but the Phoenix always gonna rise from the embers like the winter solstice in the late December 2012. Armageddon, just remember, you're here for a purpose, and your life is worthless. If you can't elevate your mind, path to the surface. Wake up on your chakras, become a new person. You are a living spirit, the creator made you perfect. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denying. So my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denying. So my kids can shine like diamonds. I know 9/11 was an inside job and a lot of people died. But you can't blame Allah, Muslims didn't plant a bomb. No place hit the Pentagon. But you can't blame Bush either. He was just a pawn. And they hide all facts. Continue and carry on. So searching for the truth. It's like chasing leprechauns. If you want the problem solved, you reign over fraud. I respect Alex Jones. Because the InfoWars are on. Barack Hussein Obama was a real savior. He couldn't fight the new world order on his own. I know I'm not a psychic, but this jewel is priceless. Yeah, this war's gonna change place. You call home, but when you're in Rome, gotta do what the Romans. But what about the Mayans? It's an island in Stonehenge. Too much pressure and stress will make your bones bend. I hope you do your own research. When it's all in. If you wanna know the real, you can read a dollar bill. If you wanna know the real, you can read a dollar bill. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denied. So my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denied. So my kids can. Diamonds. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denied. So my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth denied. So my kids can shine like diamonds. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. And the truth is so cold that sometimes I get the chills. And this world is so sick, it'll make you feel ill. But the only thing the doctor's gonna do is give you pills, prescribe you this, prescriptions for that. Addiction to barbiturates is the new crack, and you ain't gotta smoke it all. Just take Marinol. Everything synthesized is where we had it, y'all. And they ain't gon' clone all the Bilderberg members, but the Phoenix always gonna rise from the embers like the winter solstice in the late was an inside job, and a lot of people died, but you can't blame Allah. Muslims didn't plant them bombs, no planes hit the Pentagon, but you can't blame Bush either. He was just a pawn, and they hide all the facts, continue and carry on. So searching for the truth is like chasing leprechauns. If you want the problem solved, use brain over brawn. I respect Alex Jones, cause the info was wrong. And Barack Hussein Obama was a real savior. He couldn't crack the new world order on his own. And no, I'm not psychic, but this dude is priceless. Yeah, this war is gonna change the place you go home. But when you read it wrong, gotta know what the Romans. But what about the Mayans? He's the island and Stonehenge. Too much pressure and stress to make you bold. And I hope you do your own research when the song ends. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. Perfect time, I'm gonna keep on riding. No more truth denying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Oh. If you're gonna take it. If you are human, then we are equal. Time to take the power back, give it to the people. Open the curtains, see through the evil, cause they use deceptions. Trying to deceive you, lethal injections. Stick you with needles, my friend got vaccinated, still caught the measles. Gotta get the message out, travel like the Beatles. Sleep with the fish, or fly with the eagles. What can we do? Somebody asked me, teach it to your children, they tell it to their classmates. Cause they the future, living in the last days. When they young, they your mind will change the landscape. Bondage is slavery, let's try to escape. Onto the course of the world with just a handshake. Then I feel to graduate, so education mandate. Time to hit a problem, we can't fix it with a band-aid. So I tell the truth to my kids, give them all the knowledge and we play like princess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regret. So I tell the truth to my kids, give them all the knowledge and we play like princess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regret. If you never been poor, can't understand my story. Why I fight for the cause and never for the glory. Now they got my phone tapped trying to record me, cause all these lying politicians just bore me. No more patience for the fabrications. I'm just realizing all the time we wasting. All the other slaves, man, I'm really trying to save them so we can live our lives freer than the Masons. And it's amazing how they got us brainwashed. Drive-bys, my little kids playing in the sandbox. Won't travel the desert, they say the same. I complain, but won't try to fight to get what they got it said. They watch TV and let their brains rub up guns, and drugs are a part of their plot. And I just cannot fall for the system. If you don't stand for something, then you fall as a victim. So I tell the truth to my kids, give them all the knowledge and we play like princess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regret. So I tell the truth to my kids, give them all the knowledge and we play like princess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regret. They got too much television, not enough books, too many cons, not enough books, not enough queens, not enough kings to teach our children how to do the right things. But every journey starts off with baby steps. You gotta stay on top, keep your grades in check, and you shouldn't have sex if you ain't ready yet. Gotta learn to manage money and don't get in debt. And if you got student loans, better pay the rest, because a good credit score is a great success. But your Uncle Sam might get upset when he see me on the podium and you up next. Don't dwell on regrets, cause we fight for the future. Call me the teacher, call me the tutor. Crucial decisions, this game is brutal. I'ma make it fucking let the fire run through you. No more patience for the fabrications. I'm just realizing all the time we wasted. All the other slaves, man, I'm really trying to save them so we can live our lives freer than the Masons. If you are human, then we are equal. Trying to take the power back, give it to the people. Open the curtain, see through the evil. Cause they use deception, trying to deceive you. Lethal injections, stick you with needles. My friend got vaccinated, still caught the measles. Gotta get the message out, travel like the Beatles. Sleep with the fish, so fly with the eagles. What can we do? Somebody has made. Teach it to your children, tell it to their classmates. Because they are the future living in the last days. For that young brilliant mind will change the landscape. Bondage to slavery, let's try to escape. All to the cost of the world with just a handshake. And I failed to graduate, no education mandate. Time to heal the problem, we can't fix it with a band-aid. So I tell the truth to my KIDs. Give them all the knowledge, then we play like recess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regrets. So I tell the truth to my KIDs. Give them all the knowledge, then we play like recess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regrets. If you never been poor, can't understand my story. Why I fight for the cause and never for the glory. Now they got my phone tapped, trying to record me. Cause all these lying politicians just bore me. No more patience for the fabrications. I'm just realizing all the time we wasting. All the other slaves, man, I'm really trying to save them so we can live our lives freer than the races. And it's amazing how they got us brainwashed. Drive by little kids playing in the sandbox. Won't travel the desert. They say the sand hot, complain, but won't try to fight to get what they got. Instead, they watch TV and let their brains rot. While guns and drugs are a part of their plot. And I just cannot fall for the system. If you don't stand for something, then you fall as a victim. So I tell the truth to my KIDs. Give them all the knowledge, then we play like recess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regrets. So I tell the truth to my KIDs. Give them all the knowledge, then we play like recess. Sometimes we're happy and sometimes we stress. Always follow your dreams, don't live on regrets. We have too much television, not enough books. Too many pawns, not enough rooks. Not enough queens, not enough kings. To teach our children how to do the right thing. But every journey starts off with baby steps. You gotta stay on top, keep it great in check. And you shouldn't have sex if you ain't ready yet. Gotta learn to manage money, don't get in debt. And if you got student loans, better pay the rest. Because a good credit score is a great success. What your Uncle Sam might get upset when he see me on the podium and you walk next. Don't let no regrets, cause we fighting for the future. Call me the teacher or call me the tutor. Crucial decisions, the game is brutal. I'ma make a spark and let the fire run through you. No more patience for the fabrications. I'm just realizing all the time we wasted. All the other slaves, man, I'm really trying to save them so we can live our lives freer than the Masons. A new world order with the Bilderbergs are building. 9/11 false flags, now they making treasures. Trained all the terrorists, now they wanna kill them. Martial law's coming, so think about the children. Say we need a bigger army, so they gotta train you. Mandatory military service, what they gonna do? 18 to 25, 3 months of boot camp. Sending money overseas and not so can't get food stamps. 110 stories collapse, 10 seconds flat, man. How the hell they do that? You must be can't do math. When I talk about this stuff, a lot of people do that. Police state put you in a FEMA camp, too bad. The average person stressing the recession got us too mad. Big banks getting bailed out, the feds losing cash. Soldiers still dying every day out in Iraq. They trying to sell the country out, the people gotta take it back. Better read the Constitution, cause we need a new solution. 9/11 truth, I've been ready for the revolution. Fighting for my freedom, but man, I think we about to lose it. If you really patriotic, now's the time to show and prove it. Better read the Constitution, cause we need a new solution. 9/11 truth, got me ready for the revolution. Fighting for my freedom, but man, I think we about to lose it. If you really patriotic, now's the time to show and prove it. That's the guy kept it great, they got the carbon tax, but they killed the Constitution when they made the Patriot Act. Now they got my phone tap, say you're living all that. Tried to vote against it, but Barack Obama let the people make the damn move. PrisonPlanet.com. If I wasn't drop bombs, I know the truth is scary, but listen up and stay calm. Unemployment rate, got so many wanna steal and rob, but the people's in the towers really love their day job. Uncle Sam getting over cause he thinking we dumb. Wanna be a slave, but do you wanna fight for freedom? Black president, never thought that we would see one. A president don't change things, this is just a rerun. Better read the Constitution, cause we need a new solution. 9/11 truth got me ready for the revolution. Fighting for my freedom, the man, I think we about to lose it. If you're really patriotic, now's the time to show them prove it. Better read the Constitution, cause we need a new solution. 9/11 truth got me ready for the revolution. Fighting for my freedom, the man, I think we about to lose it. If you're really patriotic, now's the time to show them prove it. Now they got betrayed, now they got the carbon tax, plus they knew the Constitution when they made the Patriot Act. Now they got a phone tab, secular and all that. Try to vote together, but Barack Obama brought it back. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on driving. No more truth denying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on driving. No more truth denying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill, and the truth is so cold that sometimes I get the chills. And this world is so sick, it'll make you feel ill. But the only thing the doctor's gonna do is give you pills. I prescribe you this, prescriptions for that addiction. If barbiturates is the new crack, and you ain't gotta smoke it all, just take Marinol. Everything synthesized, that's what we headed, y'all, and they gon' clone all the Bilderberg members, but the Phoenix always gonna rise from the embers like the winter solstice in the late December 2012. Armageddon, just remember, you're here for a purpose, and your life is worthless if you can't elevate your mind past the surface. Wake up all your chakras, become a new person. You are a living spirit, the creator made you. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth in lying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth in lying, so my kids can shine like diamonds. I know 9/11 was an inside job, and a lot of people died, but you can't blame Allah. Muslims didn't plant them bombs, no place hit the Pentagon, but you can't blame Bush either. He was just a pawn, and they hide all the facts, continue and carry on. So searching for the truth is like chasing leprechauns. If you want the problem solved, use brain overgrown. I respect Ellie Jones, cause the info wasn't on. If Barack Hussein Obama was a real savior, he couldn't fight the new world order on his own. And no, I'm not a psychic, but this joint is priceless. Yeah, this word is gonna change the place you call home. But when you're in Rome, you gotta do as the Romans. But what about the Mayans? He's the island in the Stonehenge. Too much pressure and stress will make your goals bend. I hope you do your own research when the song ends. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. If you wanna know the real, you can read the dollar bill. Damn it, now is the perfect time. I'm gonna keep on rhyming. No more truth tonight, so my kids can shine like diamonds. Now is the perfect shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. It's not common knowledge that the lizards built the system from the Draco constellation. The brace of the reptilian and goddess Isis and Osiris. Some more than just mysticism. If you know the truth that they are Latin and Sumerians, Egyptians, they put pyramids in Paris and on the back of the dollar bill. Using Latin and code numbers to keep the message concealed. The presidents came from the pilgrims came from England, and all the kings of England were serpents, now human beings, other than dragons. Was an Aryan legion, the true religion was lost even before Constantine. And don't it always seem that we constantly fighting each other with a war up the sleeve? The 13 families don't want the violence to cease, cause the system can't generate profit off of peace. Assassinated Diana for going against their belief. They're willing to kill their own, that's why we call them the beast. We shouldn't have to choose from liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. If they use some common sense, you wouldn't be so ignorant. You shouldn't trust a man just because he's the president. Finished with the speculation, it's my interpretation. With crooks in the White House, then how can we have legislation? Military conflicts dropping bombs on other nations, while my little nephew in school fighting for his education. 9/11 demolition, we got the confirmation. Plenty info warriors coming to investigate. Hold up, I'm moving too fast. The blue bloods gave Obama the pass. Program, puff discussing bones of the class. And then he started up by kissing Henry, kissing his ass. And I will convince you, if you give me a chance. If you think it's all sweet, then you need a second glance. It's your first task, answer this question. Why do we have a pyramid printed on our money? We shouldn't have to choose with liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. Finish with the speculation, it's my interpretation. If the groups are in the White House, then how can we have legislation? Military conflicts dropping bombs on other nations, while my little nephew in school fighting for his education. And I'll convince you, if you give me a chance. If you think it's all sweet, then you need a second glance. Here's your first task, answer this question. Why do we have a pyramid printed on the money? We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. It's not common knowledge that the lizards built the system from the Draco constellation. The brace of the reptilian, the goddess Isis and Osiris are more than just mysticism. If you know the truth of the Atlanteans, Sumerians, Egyptians, they put pyramids in Paris and on the back of the dollar bill. Using Latin and coded numbers to keep the message concealed. The presidents came from the pilgrims came from England, and all the kings of England were serpents, not human beings. The Pendragon was an Aryan legion, the true religion was lost even before Constantine. And don't it always seem that we constantly fighting each other with a war up the sleeve? The 13 families don't want the violence to cease, cause the system can't generate profit off of peace. Assassinated Diana for going against their belief. They're willing to kill their own, that's why we call call them the beats. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. If they use some common sense, you wouldn't be so ignorant. You shouldn't trust a man just because he's the president. Finished with the speculation, this my interpretation. With crooks in the White House, then how can we have legislation? Military conflicts dropping bombs on other nations. While my little nephew in school fighting for his education. 9/11 demolition, we got the confirmation. Plenty info warriors coming to investigate. Hold up, I'm moving too fast. Blue blood gave Obama the pass. Program, puppet skull and bones was the class. And then he started a fire, kissing every kissing his ass. And I will convince you, if you give me a chance, if you think it's all sweet, then you need a second glance. Here's your first pass. Answer this question: why do we have a pyramid printed on our money? We shouldn't have to choose with liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. Finished with the speculation, it's my interpretation. If the crooks are in the White House, then how can we have legislation? Military conflicts dropping bombs on other nations. While my little nephew in school fighting for his education. And I'll convince you, if you give me a chance. If you think it's all sweet, then you need a second glance. Here's your first chance. Answer this question: why do we have a pyramid printed on the money? We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. It's not common knowledge that the lizard built the system from the Draco constellation. The race of the reptilian, the goddess Isis and Osiris are more than just mysticism. If you know the truth of the Atlanteans, Sumerians, Egyptians, they put pyramids in Paris and on the back of the dollar bill. Use the Latin encoded numbers to keep the message concealed. The presidents came from the pilgrims came from England, and all the kings of England were serpents, not human beings. You're the Pendragon, was an Aryan legion. The true religion was lost even before Constantine, and don't it always seem that we constantly fighting each other with a war up a sleeve. The 13 families don't want the violence to cease. That the system can't generate profit off of peace. Assassinated Diana for going against their belief. They're willing to kill their own. That's why we call them the beasts. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. If they use some common sense, you wouldn't be so ignorant. You shouldn't trust a man just because he's the president. Finished with the speculation, it's my interpretation. With crooks in the White House, then how can we have legislation? Military complex dropping bombs on other nations. While my little nephew in school fighting for his education. 9/11 demolition, we got the confirmation. Plenty of warriors coming to investigate. Hold up, I'm moving too fast. The blue bloods gave Obama the convince you. If you give me a chance, if you think it's all sweet, then you need a second glance. Here's your first task. Answer this question: why do we have a pyramid printed on our money? We shouldn't have to choose between liberty and freedom. We should all be equal because we're human beings. Use critical thinking, not just emotions and feelings. The system is corrupt, but together we'll defeat them. Finished with the speculation, it's my interpretation. If the crooks are in the White House, then how can we have legislation? Military conflicts dropping bombs on other nations, while my little nephew in school fighting for his education. And I will convince you, if you give me a chance. If you think it's all sweet, then you need a second glance. Here's your first task. Answer this question: why do we have a pyramid printed on our money? Trap House Entertainment. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. No rest, no sleep, no peace.
Hey, good morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Keep them pace and never mind the dying rate of our race. Standing at the hinges of Hell's Gate, being told to follow an apple held by a snake. Blood is shed, staining the earth red, leaving bodies for dead in order to help the living get ahead. Historians making history out of the story, filling up the pages of textbooks to bore me. But 8 hours learning about cowards who invaded the native land, taking away from us what's ours. No truth to the pain, no reason, no justice, just us, the last survivors who refuse to be crushed by the non-activities of society and left in the dust. Yet too many of us trust in lust without hesitation, holding hands with Satan while frolicking with his maiden. And this is the world you created for my children to be raised in. One piece of dirt section off my lines we can't see, filled with people telling me what I can and cannot be. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. A movement of a people, the voice of a generation, still asking to be equal, facing extermination. If all lives matter, where are our reparations? Financially challenged, totally miseducated, mentally damaged, reprogrammed for self-hatred, COINTELPRO, mass incarceration. But the chains are starting to fail. Marcus told me I am an African. Malcolm told me I am beautiful. Stokely told me I am a champion. Maya told me to be truthful. The elephant in the room is woken the sleeping giant. No more marching, no more riots, no more protests. A mental revolution is much more quiet. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. America, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the slave, land of the beast. No rest, no sleep, no peace. No rest, no sleep, no peace. Common Core education, decimate this generation. COVID quarantine cause anxiety from separation. Put them at the screen and try to teach from a remote location. They stripped away the basics, try to dumb down the nation. Common Core education, decimate this generation. COVID quarantine cause anxiety from separation. Put them at the screen and try to teach from a remote location. They stripped away the basics, trying to dumb down the nation. Man, these kids getting cheated from a good education. Half of them illiterate. When they go to graduation, they can't read a grade level. What a crazy situation. And the parents ain't complaining cause the school said it's okay. Just get vaccinated and we'll let you walk the stage. They don't want no real thinkers or creatives innovating. School systems overcrowded from illegal immigration. It's time to make a change. We need some new legislation. And the wealth of a nation is its youth. That's the truth from living proof that if you choose education and pursue it like a passion, you won't lose if you have the proper tools. And the wealth of a nation is its youth. That's the truth. And the wealth of a nation is its youth. That's the truth. And the wealth of a nation is its youth. That's the truth. And the wealth of a nation is its youth. That's the truth. And the wealth of a nation is its youth. That's the truth. Man, they teach you what to think. They don't teach you how to think, because if you see the matrix, then you might just break the chains. Cause we in the maze, and the truth still remains that the FDA allows red 40 in your drains, glyphosate in your cornflakes. Truth are really not the fake, but school shooters can't relate, so they choose to imitate things that they see in movies and violent video games. And the gun ain't do it by itself, but still get all the blame. Change the conversation, new exchange, new refrain, cause these internet kids different, really acting crazy. And it might be the 5G prime they offer wage. And it might be the 5G prime they offer wage. And the wealth of the nation is its youth, that's the truth. And the wealth of the nation is its youth, that's the truth. And the wealth of the nation is its youth, that's the truth. And the wealth of the nation is its youth, that's the truth. Common Core education, decimate this generation. COVID quarantine cause anxiety from separation. Put them at the screen and try to teach from a remote location. They stripped away the basics, trying to dumb down the nation. Common Core education, decimate this generation. COVID quarantine cause anxiety from separation. Put them at the screen and try to teach from a remote location. They stripped away the basics, trying to dumb down the nation. Man, these kids getting cheated from a good education. Half of them illiterate. When they go to graduation, they can't read a grade level. What a crazy situation. And the parents ain't complaining cause the school said it's okay. Just get vaccinated and we'll let you walk the stage. They don't want no real thinkers or creatives innovating. School systems overcrowded from illegal immigration. It's time to make a change. We need some new legislation. And the wealth of a nation is its youth. That's the truth from living proof that if you choose education and pursue it like a passion, you won't lose if you had the
So I'm not here to play any games.
We're just meeting for coffee.
I know that, but I like to be upfront.
So no small talk, huh? No getting to know one another?
I've been on a lot of dates. I feel like I know quick whether it's gonna work.
Well, it's not gonna work.
How do you know?
You're scared of being close, so you wall yourself off right at the beginning.
That's a pretty bold assumption.
You're hoping I run away so that you can say I couldn't handle you. But deep down, you've been hurt. Maybe by someone who earned your trust and then dashed it to the ground.
Sometimes staying alone
But
is
it's
easier than opening up. It seems like we're similar.
My problem is every time I get close, I end up ruining it for short-term gain.
Well, maybe that won't happen this time.
Hey, you like pudding?
I love pudding.
Well, maybe you'll love putting these nuts in your mouth.
Just so you know, I'm not here to play any games.
We're just meeting.
Years, fans believed one truth about Damian Marley, that he was the beloved youngest son of reggae legend Bob Marley. His dreadlocks, his music, his voice, everything screamed Bob. But at 45, Damian has finally shared a secret he held in for decades. The truth has shocked millions around the world. What Damian said left even his closest friends speechless. Damian Marley was born on July 21, 1978, to Bob Marley and Cindy Breakspear, a Jamaican jazz singer and Miss World 1976. Everyone around Damian told him he was Bob Marley's youngest son. It was written in books, reported in the media, and repeated by fans for years. But even as a child, Damian sensed something didn't feel right. While his older siblings spoke about long memories with Bob, laughing, learning and growing up with him, Damian's memories were faint. For years, fans believed one truth about Damian Marley, that he was the beloved youngest son.
I'm not gonna let you filibuster. I'm not gonna let you filibuster. I'm not gonna let you filibuster. You guys are totally okay with IDF soldiers shooting and killing desperate people waiting for humanitarian aid. You're okay with that. I find it so unbelievably evil. Unbelievably evil. It shocks my conscience and my soul that people as evil as this exist in this world. Okay? Watching these images, looking at these videos, seeing all these kids desperate, hungry, parentless, trapped in Gaza, and you're sitting here and you're defending it. I can't stand it. I can't listen to it. The filibustering is unbearable. It's unbearable.
I'm not
gonna let you filibuster. I'm not gonna let you filibuster. I'm not gonna let you filibuster. You guys are totally okay with IDF soldiers shooting and killing desperate people.
The main gun will only fire a small beam of laser at the beginning, although it has low damage and requires.
FBI Director Kash Patel announced Operation Restore Justice, resulting in the arrest of over 200 individuals involved in child predator operations across 55 FBI field offices, rescuing 15 children and declaring, if you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. So is this to cover up for them letting the Israeli guy go? Because I think that's
Oh yeah, there's nothing to see here.
nothing to see here.
We just let that guy go back to Israel.
Isn't that weird? That
How about you arrest her?
that if you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary unless you work for Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel, and AIPAC was breathing down our neck. And if you're Israeli, you can do whatever you want. Harm our children. You can get caught in a sting of child predators, and we're going to let you go. No big deal. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's hear what Kash Patel had to say.
Our children. If
Okay.
you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary.
Again, unless Israeli and you work for Benjamin Netanyahu, then you can do whatever you want to our children. You could go back to Israel and you can slaughter all the children you want in Gaza and the West Bank. So you can do a lot of that. So that's it's basically it's like a loose guideline. It's not really.
There is no place we will not come to hunt you down.
Except Israel. We won't go to Israel. Like, believe me, that's a safe haven for pedos. That's why they all go there. It's a loophole that the pedos get to go to Israel.
There is no place we will not look for you.
Except Israel. We're not going to, how many times I got to tell you? This is all laughing the gum. This is all lip service.
Except
And
Israel.
there is no cage we will not put you in.
Okay, except the one that you belong in if you get caught in a child pedo sting ring.
Yeah, I had to share that to my Facebook real quick.
Okay.
Should you do
All
harm
right,
to
I
our
gotta
children?
eat breakfast.
The
son. I've been up
prioritization
for
of
a
this
minute. What time
administration of
is
General
it?
Bondi
It is
has made it
7:30.
abundantly clear to child predators. You
I just when they use the term abundantly clear, abundantly. Oh boy, the clearness is abundant.
The
Everywhere I
clarity
look, it's clear.
the clarity is just
Every
so
place,
much
it's abundant.
clarity.
be hunted down and you will be prosecuted.
Again, unless you're an Israeli. I bet the same thing will go for a Saudi guy.
Damn.
And that is a refreshing thing to hear for the men and women who do this work tirelessly.
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear. It's not true, but it's refreshing to hear. And of course, if you're
Yo.
one of the people on the Epstein list, we're not.
Yo.
You're good too, because that also has to do with Israel. So we're saying that again. It's for most people, not everybody. Some people were like, you can go ahead and harm our children.
It's also an acknowledgement of the safety that we look forward to bringing America.
Hey, how about the Epstein files? How about those predators? Is there anywhere you'll go to get them? Or cage that you'll put them in? How about just the Epstein files? No?
No. Not
People
those.
had to say underneath this. Oh, they're still acting like Trump isn't hiding the Epstein files. Trump's fans, put it that way, Trump's fans. Oh, there it is, right underneath it. Yeah, everyone except the tribe, huh? Nevada's Israel-born U.S. attorney deleted her Twitter account after damning revelations came out about the Israeli cybersecurity executive director was allowed to post bail and fly back. I didn't know that. I know she deleted her account.
They've been pretty much the same.
Social media is too telling. And when you're not on, I don't know. Some people just like private lives and they don't want to be on social media and they don't share their business or their plate of food or their kids' athletic game or whatever. They don't feel like that they need to share that. I got a lot of buddies who just don't deal with social media. Period. It says too much drama. It's just a bunch of bullshit. They advertisements and stuff. Like they just don't do it. But then some people, in modern society, in today's world, social media is somewhat of the town hall, or you know, and so we can all come towards, uh, we all can come to the town hall open square and voice our opinions about topics we feel are important to us and to the nation. And so everybody has a voice in the town hall now. And if you say it in like, and there's many different rooms of the town hall, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everybody's in a different room. But if you say something in one room at the town hall, it's going to travel and circulate through the whole building, and everybody in the next room is going to hear about it too. And that's your opinion. And it's, or if you have some facts, or if you have some information and details on the situation, you can say it in one part of the town hall, and eventually everybody will hear it or know about it, or see links to your evidence or to your arguments. And that's great. That's awesome. And most people in political situations or positions should always be a part of the town hall. It's now, in modern times, it's the easiest way for your constituents to communicate with you, to express their wants, needs, and concerns, and you as a political figure can interact with more people through this new digital town hall platform than we can by everybody meeting at the courthouse steps on Saturday evening at 5. And so when you decide to take yourself out of the town hall, you delete your Instagram or you delete your Twitter account as a sitting elected political official, then it just seems like you're hiding something. It just seems like you're hiding something. Hey, bitch, what you delete your fucking Twitter for? You don't want to voice your opinions? You don't want to have people able to come to you digitally on your section of the town hall and say, hey, I heard you did XYZ and I don't like that. And then you can have a chance for rebuttal and engagement, interaction, and conversations with the people who don't necessarily agree or like how you handle the situation. And then you can explain yourself, saying, well, according to law and standards and standings, I made a judgment call from my experience, and I am and what I thought was best for the situation. But you don't even do. You just go delete your account. Hmm. Okay. Okay. You did some shit, and it's getting a little bit of hot water because it's backfiring on you, and you're like, oh, just I bow out. I bow out. Don't fucking bow out, bitch. Come back here and let us talk to you, bitch. Why you let the Israeli pedophile go? That's what we it's just one fucking question. It's just the one question. Why did you let the Israeli pedophile leave the country? That's all we want to know. That's all we want to know. I don't have to answer this. I'll delete my Twitter. Damn, bitch, it was that. It was it. Damn, the question was that hard for you to answer? It was that hard for you to answer. Jeez. She just walked out of the town hall. No explanation or nothing. I don't have to face these questions. Well, don't look like you'll be getting reelected. And the more mixed up it gets at the end, exactly. Because people come jumping in halfway through the conversation without even reading the whole context of what the conversation is stemming from, and start throwing in their fucking 2 cents. Bitch, ain't nobody even, you don't even know what the fuck you talking about. Get up out of here. I love it though. I love it. I love debates and discussion, and I've been um I've been called out several times, more than twice, more than 3 times, probably about 4 or 5 times maybe for posting some bogus content, some clickbaity meme shit that I just glanced at and I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then I posted, and motherfuckers like, yo, this shit ain't true, bro. And I'm like, word? Oh, damn, that's crazy. They got me. So now, like, before I share shit on my social media, that shit need to be verified. I even shared something just a couple weeks ago about bee venom being able to help cure breast cancer. Uh-uh. And I was like, damn, that sounds amazing. And I went to go share it, and I was like, wait a minute, this shit might be bullshit. Let me do some quick research on this real quick. And so I looked into it, and yeah, there's a female biologist scientist who is trying to figure out ways to eradicate breast cancer, and she's trying experiments with bee venom. And in controlled laboratory settings, this shit fucking works 100%. It 100% works in a very controlled situation, though. You know. And so I'm like, oh, and then you read more, and it's like, yeah, this may be something that we can invest more time and energy into seeing about this right here, because bee venom is killing cancer cells within 60 minutes in a laboratory setting, 100% done. But bee venom is it's a venom, and most people are fucking allergic to it. Most people, the average person, is allergic to bee venom. So like, how can you formulate a treatment without sending somebody into anaphylactic shock and killing their ass because you're trying to stop the cancer? And so that's the conundrum that they're facing now. And no human trials have been tested because most people are fucking allergic to this shit. And in large doses, it may kill you. I mean, you'll get rid of the cancer by dying. So I posted the little photo of, hey, bee venom might kill cancer cells. But then I posted the link to the research that I did about it afterwards, saying, hey, this is only in a laboratory setting. And nobody in the world has tried this or has been cured from fucking bee venom. And I try to do that now because, once again, I don't like getting called out for like, oh, you're posting false shit. You don't even know what you're talking about, bro. That shit ain't even real. And I'd be embarrassed. Like, damn. Yeah, they got me out here memeing on some meme shit. And I don't even know what the meme is. Just memeing to be memeing. Mm-mm. And that ain't good. That ain't a good look. Motherfucker saying you wrong. Oh, you wrong about that. Mm-mm. I don't like how that feel. Mm-mm. They told me I was wrong. Mm-mm. I'm thinking I might have cereal for breakfast. Just something quick and easy. I'm starting to get hungry. Hungry. I need something to eat. Something to fill my tummy. Something to fill my tummy. Time to eat. Time to feed the beast. Time to eat. Time to feed the beast. Something to fill my tummy. Mm. Why are my fingernails dirty? What the fuck? Something to fill my tummy. All right. I think that may suffice. Oh, yes, you can, Mindy. Go grab a bowl of cereal or something. I gotta eat something real quick.
Trip House Entertainment. I was running them streets. I was tugging that heat while I'm dodging police. Always burning them trees. I was grinding so hard 'cause my hustle runs deep. And I still made it out 'cause my grandmother prayed and she prayed. And she prayed. And she prayed for me. She prayed, and she prayed, and she prayed for me. My life has a purpose. I know this for certain. Don't care how you worship. Don't judge any person. My passion stay burning. I'm still on my journey. Keep moving my feet. 'Cause my grandmother prayed and she prayed. And she prayed. And she prayed for me. She prayed, and she prayed, and she prayed for me. Ask God to save my soul, and please keep me whole. She asked God to save my soul, and please keep me whole. She prayed, and she prayed, and she prayed for me. She prayed, and she prayed, and she prayed for me. So baby, Trap House Entertainment. Hustle, baby, hustle, baby, hustle, 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 baby, hustle, baby, hustle, baby, hustle, 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 baby. I've been on my grind while y'all wasting time. I go for mine. I was making 5K from making time Monday. On my mind Monday, on my lap I load my strap and watch my back. These streets ain't loyal and they don't owe you. Please don't make them show you. Keep it brief and keep it rolling. Keep it neat, keep trolling. Cause patrolling, hoes keep strolling. Tryna block your lane and stop your motion. Show your hustle, move your muscle. Never let these haters touch you. We can tangle, we can tussle, but I'd rather get this money. Show your hustle, move your muscle.
cereal.
It'll be a nap. Trap house entertainment. I was running them streets. I was tugging that heat while I'm dodging police. Always burning them trees. I was grinding so hard 'cause my hustle runs deep. And I still made it out 'cause my grandmother prayed and she prayed. And she prayed. And she prayed for me. She prayed, and she prayed, and she prayed for me. My life has a purpose. I know this for certain. Don't care how you worship. Don't judge it in person. My passion stays burning. I'm still on my journey. Keep moving my feet. 'Cause my grandmother prayed and she prayed. And she prayed. And she prayed for me. She prayed. And she prayed. And she prayed for me. Ask God to save my soul and please keep me whole. She asked God to save my soul and please keep me whole. She prayed and she prayed and she prayed for me. She prayed and she prayed and she prayed for me. So baby, trap house entertainment. Hustle baby, hustle baby, hustle, hustle, hustle baby, hustle baby, hustle baby, hustle, hustle, hustle baby.
Hear the truth? Yeah. We just dropped a video on that right now. So you can, after this, you can watch our video. See what, oh, here's I am Blakely. Oh, then why did you guys let this pedophile escape justice and flee the country? There she goes. She's right on it. 100% right. Let's go ahead. Like. Give it like up here too. 2 likes. Ryan Dawson, he's in on it.
He's in it.
Unless you're Israeli, oh, everybody's got the same joke. Unless you're Israeli, then you get to go back to your second home. That's correct. Very. Empire of Lies says release the Epstein files and or STFU. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, nice work, Empire Lies.
Everybody except the POS pedophile who came from Israel to molest our kids. He helped that guy escape.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everybody, unless you're from it. So did they not know this is how people were? So they keep doing this. It keeps drawing attention to the fact that they haven't released the Epstein files and that they let that Israeli pedo guy go back to Israel. This is the Streisand effect times. Trying to misdirect people from the Epstein files and that Israeli pedo guy. See, every comment underneath this.
Hilarious.
Reports confirm that the Trump administration intervened at Israel's request to release Tom. Really? Since 2014, over 60 accused U.S. SCX offenders have fled to Israel via law of return, evading prosecution with community aid and delayed extraditions. Examples include Micah Leifer and Jimmy Carrao, CBS News and Haaretz, have reported on that. Israel has extradited some, but patterns of refuge persist. Oh. What's this? The Trump admitted to the least pedo safe haven. Changed my mind. Is that Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah,
Is that who that is?
that looks like a AI or like
Yeah.
generated.
Another distraction for the Epstein's time. Oh, nice. Well, where are the Epstein files? Affiliate every comment underneath this. This is coming from a pro-Trump. Twitter account. All credibility lost when you let Israelis get off without the severe punishment they deserve. Israeli Epstein pedo blackmail ring covered up, and now more recently the Alexandrovich rat was allowed to scurry back to pedo land. Disgusting and traitorous. Anything but the Epstein files. Wow. Unless you're on the every comment underneath this. Oh. You can arrest 1,000, but until you nab the rich and powerful pedos in business, Congress, and the White House, you're still shit stains covering up for the and protecting depraved friends. Oh. Okay, so if you'd like to hear my jokes about the Epstein files, I'll see you in Rutherford, New Jersey this Saturday. And then I'll see you in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Chicago, Appleton, Wisconsin, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. I think I hit them all. Yeah. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. We'll see you there. Microplastics are infiltrating every part of our lives. Scientists estimate we now consume a credit card's worth of plastic every single week. Food, our water, and even the air we breathe. One study found plastic particles in 100% of human lung samples. Nobody's safe from overexposure. It gets worse. These plastics just don't sit in your body. They cross the gut lining, they leach into your blood, and disrupt everything. They've been shown to alter gut bacteria, suppress your immune response, and increase your risk for neurodegenerative disease, metabolic disorders, and cancer. Some plastic toxins like BPA and phthalates mimic hormones, interfere with fertility, and damage DNA. Even if you eat clean or avoid packaged foods, you're still being exposed. You can't opt out, but your gut can help you fight back. Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition is a potent ally in this toxic world. It's packed with over 900 probiotic strains unique to kimchi and proven to break down BPA, helping you detox from the inside out. It doesn't just support digestion, it helps protect your cells, your brain.
Learn AI in 2025. Watch this. So this is how I became the most dangerous person in the room. One habit changed everything. I replaced social media with micro-learning. Now, instead of wasting time on...
I wanted to just really quickly talk about the journalists who have been murdered, Katie. I mean, especially Anas al-Sharif, 28 years old. 28 years old. You know, I mean, to think of how young that is and how horrific it is that Israel smeared this young man as operative. And even if he was, nothing justifies extrajudicial murder. Courts are for, okay? So all of this is sick, even if you're running on the premise that someone equals Hamas equals justified murder. That is sick. But let's just look at Anas al-Sharif. Khan. Right? Because this man graduated from Gaza City's Al-Aqsa University with a mass communication degree. He specialized in radio and television in college. Then he volunteered for a media network. And then he won Best Young Journalist in Gaza in 2018 for his amazing diligent reporting on the ground. This was a man who dedicated his entire adult life to investigative journalism and reporting, even before he got the job with Al Jazeera. So, you know, and it's the same with Ismail Al-Ghul. I mean, he obtained a bachelor's degree in journalism at the Islamic University of Gaza, and then he studied media and journalism. He was 27 years old. I mean, just wrap your mind around that. Hassam Shabat was 23 years old. I mean, it's just sick. It's sick that you could have press outlets regurgitating IDF press releases about these young, heroic men being Hamas operatives.
Where do we go next? Where do we go next?
How dare you? Where is the outrage? Where is the outcry? You know, these Western journalists will never even fathom what heroism is, what selflessness is. Journalists in Gaza are the bravest human beings alive. They know that their work is a death sentence because Israel openly hunts them and threatens to kill them. But they do it out of duty to their people. Not only out of duty to their people, but out of defiance to the world that ignores their suffering, gaslights them, denies their reality, and to do it regardless. And that's something that I don't think anyone can really wrap their mind around. It's incomprehensible. And so people like Clarissa Ward who leave that TikTok and just think, yep, I did my part, check the box.
Right.
You will never understand.
Years into it.
Yeah.
You know, it is also the rank hypocrisy of like, imagine someone from a Muslim country calling BBC journalists mouthpieces for state terror and then accusing them of being bankrolled by terrorists, then beginning to murder these journalists. Like, do you think that the media, Western media, would be okay with that?
I mean, it's the whole framework of the people who work for my enemy are deemed enemy combatants. I mean, the fact that, you know, people like me and Chris Hedges and Lee Camp, we were all considered people who could have their entire body of work removed from the internet because we were unsavory characters working for Russian media. I mean, it's
so
absolutely
funny. Like, that's exactly what they say. Like, the Russians are the communists. No, they're literally disappearing people from the internet.
Yeah, disappearing people from the internet. I hate to even compare that to what's going on in Palestine. Obviously, there's no comparison at all. But it's just the idea that Al Jazeera employs people, and those people are journalists, and they are our colleagues. But because it's Al Jazeera, I mean, let's not forget what even the CIA and State Department did after 9/11. They paid tens of millions, actually more than that, to decipher the cryons and lower thirds of Al Jazeera because they were so concerned that it was terrorist messaging. I mean, this is how cartoonish it's become. Look at France 24, BBC, Voice of America. Arguably, you know, all the journalists working for those outlets, not only are they state funded and, you know, they could be called agents of the state according to the same logic, but those states are actually genocidaires. I mean, these are the states committing genocide, colonialism, imperialism.
You can choose to raid the caravan, or you can choose to guard it. This is a game where slaying monsters are not the only way to grow stronger. Heck, it's not even the main way. Discover
war. So, I mean, just by the same logic, it is just absolutely insane and horrific that anyone can co-sign to this. You know, I mean, like 2 years into this, and the silence, the egregious, deafening silence from all of the journalists in the world about the systematic slaughter of Palestinians in media. I can't wrap my mind around it, Katie. The only thing I can rationalize is that they don't think Palestinians are human.
Right.
They are bigots and racists, and they are so comfortable with their status that they don't want to lose their job. You know, times are tough, Katie. So that letter sent out by the BBC with 200 BBC employees, I was very pleasantly surprised. I just thought, finally, almost 2 years into this, we finally have a mass letter by BBC journalists signing about how horrific it is that their network is co-signing all this horrific genocide propaganda. Well, consider my shock when I opened the letter and it was 200 anonymouses. I was like,
yeah, wow, really great.
Wow, really brave, guys. Really brave. And look at the New York Times. The day after, five reporters were bombed in a journalist tent outside Al-Shifa Hospital. What did the New York Times say? They published an article that said, "What is Al Jazeera? What is this network that Israel keeps targeting as a terrorist mouthpiece? Let's find out." Well, the network denies it, but let's really dig in here. I mean, this is complicity.
Yeah, of course.
This is manufacturing consent for the systematic slaughter of your colleagues.
Right. Yeah. And Reuters putting in Hamas, killed a journalist, Israel said was Hamas operative. Like, you put that in the headline. Shouldn't you be better at being like state stenographers? Like, there's an art to it. You want to be a little subtle. You don't want to be that obvious.
Well, Reuters and AP are supposed to be like press wires. It's like, okay, we get it, but you're not just supposed to literally reprint the IDF press release, Reuters. Like, use some goddamn discernment.
Yeah. There's actually a clip I wanted to show that features, I think, a framing that we never see before. I was actually really shocked that CNN let this clip remain on air. So it's Foreign Press Association President Ian Williams being asked about the killing of Anas al-Sharif and whether he's Hamas. And let's take a listen.
Association says it's outraged by the targeted killings of journalists in Gaza. Let's bring in Ian Williams, the president of the association. Ian, welcome to the program. As we've noted, we've seen repeated calls for Western journalists to be allowed into Gaza as the war approaches its 2-year mark. Just tell our viewers why that is so important to have Western journalists there to observe what is going on the ground throughout the war, and what the reaction has been and the justification when you reach out to the Israeli government demanding as much.
Well, the point is we should trust Palestinian journalists as well, but there's profound sort of racism, and the Israeli government has basically said if you're Palestinian you're not to be trusted, whereas I think the foreign press, the press in general, are now beginning to learn that whatever the Israeli government says has to be taken with a hundredweight of salt, because there's, what they say bears no relation to reality. And they use keywords like, the Hamas Ministry of Defense. Hamas controls the place. And I mean, the Ministry of Health. Hamas controls the place. Journalists, I don't care whether al-Sharif was in Hamas or not. We don't kill journalists for being Republicans or Democrats or in Britain Labour Party. Hamas is a political organization as well as a terrorist organization, perhaps. But it's not permissible to go killing people. And this was the distinct change now, is the idea actually that this was a targeted killing. And the reason they're doing that is they're not letting foreign journalists in. So Palestinian journalists are the only ones who are there, the only ones who can tell what's happening there. And what they're saying completely contradicts what's coming from Israeli spokesmen in Israel and across the world. It's quite clear they've documented the ongoing massacres, and the Israelis don't like it.
What do you mean by not caring whether Anas al-Sharif was part of Hamas? Because the Israelis have produced what they say is evidence and have long-standing statements where they say he was not only part of Hamas, but he was leading a Hamas cell. In your view, that doesn't make him fair game for Israeli targets?
I'm done with the stigma. Let's unpack GLP-1s. They say GLP-1s for weight loss is a shortcut. It's not. It's science.
First of all, I don't believe it. He's been working 24 hours on journalism. He doesn't have time to work in a cell on the side. Second point is, I basically don't believe anything the Israeli government says about this. They've lied and lied and lied. They buried a whole medical team.
I mean, by the way, I'm going to keep playing this, but this woman, her name is Diana Goladraga, and she has pushed the Hamas rape hoax a lot. Mm-hmm. People could say that she has blood on her hands.
Well, what long-standing documents? They produced long-standing documents.
Yeah. Can she? I would love to see that lady. This long-standing. What does that even mean? Long-standing
documents.
Like her Hezbollah talking points are like fried in her brain. She can't even reach for the good Hezbollah talking points. So disgusting.
They've lied and lied and lied. They buried a whole medical team after denying it, destroyed the evidence. They bombed hospitals, claiming there were Hamas facilities underneath, which weren't there. And the only way to conclusively disprove them was to let foreign journalists in. And they won't do that. So now they're basically saying if foreign journalists are allowed in now, sure they compose their wills before they go.
These are two
Because
separate.
the idea has no compunction.
These are two separate issues you raise. I think the majority of journalists around the world, and I would imagine a lot of our viewers, would support allowing Western journalists into Gaza to see.
Wow, that is so big of you. What a principled person that you think that they should allow Western journalists in. That is so brave. Wow, you must have gone to journalism school to understand the power of journalism so well, because what an amazing thing to say.
For themselves and report for themselves what is happening in this war. But when you say you don't believe a word Israel is saying, there's been a lot of accusation thrown at Israel for not producing evidence to confirm some of the claims they've made. If they then produce evidence and you say I don't believe it, where does that leave things?
Well, also, what evidence are you talking about? It is absolutely the right thing to do to assume Israel lies by default. Like, you should never believe it until not only should they produce evidence, but like it needs to be cross-checked. Because I don't believe anything.
Inverse of reality. It's like you should. Yeah. The dubiousness is on Hamas instead of Israel. The notorious, pathologically lying, nuclear armed state committing genocide. Yeah, great journalism.
Yeah.
But believe it. Where does that leave things?
Also, poor Israel. They've been accused of not having evidence. Come on, how can you? You're gonna
accused of not having evidence about the slaughtering 200 plus journalists and their families.
Yeah. They're really in a bind. It's really hard for them.
Well, it leaves things on the balance of truth.
I don't know if I'm gonna do Sunday cooking or not.
The authority here is denying access to independent witnesses.
The seasons are starting to change. It's getting a little cooler in the morning and the days are a little bit shorter. So I decided to do another grill session. So I'm gonna put everything on the grill this evening, but we're supposed to get rain as well. So I don't know if I want the camera and everything outside in the rain with me, because I don't give a damn if it rains. I'm still gonna, that was my intention of grilling outside, and I should have checked the weather, but fuck it. So I don't know. I doubt if I'll do cooking with the French today. Give me some more barbecue. I got some steak and some lamb chops and some burgers and some chicken. Then I got some mixed spring leaves for salad, and I got some macaroni salad, and I'm gonna make some cabbage. So I think that'll be a pretty decent meal prep. I love food off the grill, so try to at least get one more good barbecue in before it gets too cold. But even in the winter times, if I want a steak, I just like grilled steak. I don't like pan seared or oven steak, or I don't know. That shit just tastes different off the grill. Char broiled. And so even in the wintertime, I'll slap some meat on the grill in the wintertime, but just not as often. And it's not the same when you're all fucking bundled up with a jacket and some gloves on trying to grill a steak. Damn, I gotta leave my plate here this time. I'm already thinking about next week. I might do some fish, or like a fish stew, or I don't know. I feel I need some seafood. Dang, 2 hours. Been here about 2 hours. If I get this wood grain done, that's the couch. We'll have the second detail layer, and the final detail layer would just be some highlights here and there. Mutton curry. I can't say that I have. No, I've never had mutton curry. Mutton is deer, right? Curried deer. Or am I mistaken? I don't know what mutton is. Oh, aged lamb. Hmm. Yeah, that shit is a year old. It says mutton is the meat of a mature sheep, typically over 1 year old. So is the sheep over 1 year old, or is the meat over 1 year old? Okay, lamb comes from young sheep, usually less than a year old, while mutton comes from older, mature animals. Nah, I never had mutton. At the grand old age of one, bitch, I just got here last year. Are you calling me old? You're a mature sheep. God damn, sheep mature pretty fast. That's not even dog years. Oh, dang. Do I need a break already? I don't want a break. I gotta get this wood grain done before I leave the studio. There's a strong chance I won't be back up here today. I did 2 streams yesterday. I definitely needed to get that extra hour in yesterday. I should have did more time yesterday evening, and then I would have been further along now. Now I've only ever had pan-seared lamb chops. I don't know, and I've only had lamb chops once that were actually pretty good. I don't know how this thing is going to do on the grill, but we'll see. Grilled lamb chop. It might be all right. I hope so. Well, to cook and to game, and I might write a song today if I can think of something. I could come in here and write. I want to add one more song to that pop album I'm writing, and I'm still trying to edit and remix a bunch of the old rap stuff from the like that conspiracy album. And I really did that because I felt like I wasn't going to use all of my credits this month, and I don't like having extra credits because they don't add up. Like if you don't use them, you lose them. So I was like, fuck that. I'll just remix a bunch of this old material this weekend here just to burn those credits up. I still have enough credits for like if I did want to put a new song together. I think I got like 600 credits left right now, 500 or 600. But my credits come back in 4 days. It's the 24th, and my credits reset on the 28th. So if I don't use these 600 credits in the next 4 days, then I lose it. That's another reason I try to write so much. I pay I pay for Suno, so use this shit to the max. All right, one more song. I think that'll be 86 songs for the year. We gonna knock it down. Trying to get to that 100 song for the year. I wrote 100 songs in 12 months. And some of them are actually good songs. Like some of them. Most of my rap shit is bullshit. I ain't gonna lie. I know this. Like since I've been getting into the R&B and the other kind of stuff, like some of those songs are actually pretty good. Like some of my rap stuff is alright, but that's why I want to go back and do the more like political stuff or conspiracy stuff. At least that music is attempting to deliver some type of message other than talking about fucking bitches and smoking weed all the time. Oh yeah. I lie to other people, not to myself. I ain't gonna lie to myself. I like all my music, but is it good? Is all my music good? I don't know. I don't think so. My rap shit, I just like writing rap stuff that just I don't know, talk about bullshit. I find it fun and funny. I find it fun and funny. But is that like good music? I don't know about that. No, I don't know about that. Fun to listen to and good music are two different things. My shit might be fun to listen to. But Is it really good? Is it good music though? I don't know. Now shit like art and education, now that's good. That I think those are good raps. That album is mostly a rap album and it has really solid content on there. Really good themes and visuals. Like when you listen to the song, you can kind of see some of the stories I'm trying to tell. Like that's good rap. My other stuff, you know, take it with a grain of sand. Don't be too critical of it because it's just me making words rhyme.
Else is allowed to go into Gaza. International organizations aren't allowed into Gaza. Journalists aren't allowed into Gaza. Reuters, AP, CNN, BBC are not allowed into Gaza. And what does that sort of more than a little hint that things are going on there that the Israeli government doesn't want you to know about or doesn't want you to witness? What are the conclusions you're going to give? Now, there's a presumption in favor of Israel in a lot of this, which is totally unjustified after recent experience. I think, and they've targeted journalists before in the West Bank as well. By the way, we're looking at Gaza, but journalists have been assaulted and killed in the West Bank as well for witnessing what the settlers are doing, let alone what the IDF is doing. So I think we're really, it's not. It doesn't do Israel any great favors for basically making everything they say totally questionable.
All right, Ian Williams, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for the time, President of the Film Press Association.
Cried after that or threw up.
Wow, that was really heavy. That was really heavy because it's just in the face of nothing, the grasping at straws. I mean, I just wish that he could have just said, what was the evidence? Him posing?
Yeah.
Because there's a long list of Israelis that have hung out with Netanyahu and worked for Netanyahu and interviewed Netanyahu and all the Likud cabinet. I mean, it is so horrific. So all those journalists are completely fair game, extrajudicially assassinated along with their families. And hey, if you kill 500 people in the apartment building, but hey, you were trying to get that journalist who interviewed Netanyahu one time. I mean, where does this end?
I don't think that Biana would be cool with that. Something tells me. So disgusting.
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the best form of charity is giving water. Maybe you're the answer.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that, but it's still socially acceptable to shoot a missile in the general direction of somebody you're upset with. You're like, dude, there was like kids over there. This is my favorite response. Well, they're using kids as human shield. It's like, well, you gotta work around that. Jesus Christ, if I'm mad at my neighbor and I want to beat the shit out of him, but he's holding a baby, right? I wouldn't come in and try to punch him through the baby. And you go in, you throw a hook, you sweep the legs, you do it on the lawn so the baby bounces off the grass, all right? There's fucking rules to this shit. Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that, but it's still socially acceptable to shoot a missile in the general direction of somebody you're upset with. You're like, dude, there was like kids over there. This is my favorite response. Well, they're using kids as human shield. It's like, well, you gotta work around that.
You gotta work around it.
I wonder what we're to make of these reports.
Girls, check this out. In just a sec.
Oh, well, again with Mr. Obama, you said, and you're Jewish yourself. I only mention that because to put this in context. The Jews who vote for Obama are, by and large, Jews in name only. Ginos, you call them.
My statement was based on the fact that Jews in the United States, as an ethnic group, are largely irreligious, which is true by every single poll. Jews are the most irreligious group in the United States. As an Orthodox Jew who actually takes Judaism seriously, the point that I'm making is that most Jews who are ethnically Jewish are not religiously Jewish in any context.
No. The point you were making is that Jews who vote for Obama are Jews in name only.
I said that, yes, that is correct. That Jews who voted for Barack Obama, a progenitor of the Iran deal, a person who was cracking down on religious liberty, a person who spent much of his career as president of the United States attempting to deprive Israel of the necessities to defend itself, that people, Jews who voted for President Obama, by and large, cared about Judaism far less than they did about other priorities.
Did you say they should turn their badge in as a Jew?
Yes, I believe that if you are somebody who takes Judaism seriously, that comes along with ideological commitment.
I mean, I guess.
Also, I hope you're having fun, by the way, going through every old tweet that I've ever sent to try and do gotcha questions. But if you'd like to have a discussion about my general philosophy or things I've done in, say, I don't know, that's 2012, so it's now 2019. If you'd like to discuss something I've done in, say, like the past 5 years, why don't we do that? How about that?
Because your book is a criticism of how angry America is and how America has to do better. And I'm simply
I have an entire list on my website, sir. On my list, I have an entire website of dumb, bad
simply
things
trying
that
to
I've
point
said.
out some of the things you've said that seem to me to help to stoke that anger. For example, you said Israelis like to build, Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
Well, as I say in an article entitled, here's a list of all the giant, bad, dumb things I've ever said.
Was that dumb?
Yes, that's a dumb tweet. And not only, but it is also important to mention that the next few tweets clarified that tweet is specifically referring to the Hamas leadership, which, by the way, a BBC I've seen is relatively reticent to condemn.
No, actually, it wasn't what you went on to do and say, you are correct about the slur on Arabs. It's not all Arabs that want to live in open sewage and blow things up. It's just Palestinians. You went on to say.
And then you said
the Palestinian population is rotten to the core. You went on to say, not Hamas, the Palestinian Arab population.
I say that by poll numbers, they elected Hamas. They They educate their children in school that Israel should be obliterated, sir.
I guess.
If you want to read, honestly, this is a giant waste of time in the sense that the entire interview is designed for you to shout slogans or old things that I've said at me. I don't see how this boards the debate. You talk about undermining the public discourse. It seems to me that simply going through and finding lone things that sound bad out of context and then hitting people with them is a way for you to make a quick buck on BBC off the fact that I'm popular and no one has ever heard of you.
There are not many bucks to be made on the BBC, unlike American broadcasting, Mr. Shapiro. The point I'm trying to make is that your words are highly designed to produce the consensus and understanding that the book seems to want to produce. That's my point, that you write about, Judeo-Christian culture and so on, but so much of what you've said in the past would seem to turn its back on Judeo-Christian culture.
You're lecturing me on Judeo-Christian culture after you call the pro-life position barbaric?
I just asked you a question.
And I asked you a question, you failed to answer a single one of mine. Frankly, I find this whole thing a waste of time. If you want to read the book and critique the book, why don't you read and critique the book? If you want to critique me, you can think whatever you want of me.
Why don't you
frankly,
try and
I don't
answer
care.
the
I don't frankly give a damn what you think of me since I've never heard of you.
And I've never heard of you until I briefed myself for this. But that's not the issue. You haven't.
Then why the hell are you interviewing me?
It's an interesting book. But my point is, your book claims that
it'd be
society.
Nice if you would quote it from time to time.
Your book is actually I've done so several times, and I'm about to do so again. If you would let me just finish the question, your book claims that society is turning its back on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah,
what are those values? What are the values it's turning its back on?
I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and for showing that anger is not part of American political discourse. Now, Mr. Shapiro, we'll say goodbye.
I don't think God would permit a proactive immorality, even if he can't, for some reason, abolish the practice altogether. If you see what I'm saying.
No, that last point I don't see. So when you say even if he can't abolish the practice altogether,
which already I think he would be able to do.
Right. So the question is whether he can or whether he can't. If he can't abolish the practice, then the idea of wooing people away from a particular type of sin through a gradualistic process is known throughout societies across human history. I mean, the gradualistic processes are the way that most things get done across human history. And by the way, the universal practice, unfortunately, up till today in many places in the world, is in fact the extreme version of what you're talking about. Raise everything, kill everyone. Like that sort of stuff, unfortunately, does take place, even on planet Earth, even in the year 2023. And so the idea of a culture arising from the Bible that not only abolished slavery on its own shores, but then abolished slavery literally everywhere else, which is what Great Britain did. That, again, to separate that off from a tradition that also says that every human being is made in the image of God, right, to the verse from Genesis, or that you have to treat the stranger well, right, which is repeated more than any injunction in the Bible, right? There are these traditions that are at war with each other inside the Bible, which is why there's this hotly fought kind of argument inside biblical circles about all this stuff, which again is one of the reasons why I said right up top, that when it gets to, I can't just open the Bible and interpret the text as I would see fit. You say, well, I don't like this verse right here.
Contradictory?
What was that?
You say that scripture is contradictory?
Well, I say that scripture is, some scripture is time bound and some scripture is not. So the easy one, the sort of easy way to distinguish is that when the Bible says not to do a thing, then that tends to be non-time bound.
And when it says to do a thing.
And when it says to do a thing, that may be a temporary permission structure, but it could also be a wooing. And by the way, again, I'm not speaking out of turn here. This has been 1,500 years of Jewish reinterpretation of ancient Torah, to take a quick example, right? The war bride, the long-standing Talmudic tradition, which again is almost 2,000 years old at this point, is that was deliberately an attempt to avoid mass war rape, which again, you can scoff at that, but mass war rape happened on this continent 70 years ago when the Russians literally raped everyone as they came into Germany. So these evils continue to exist in the human heart.
Even if this was a liberalizing force, and even if this was not as bad as other slavery, do you think that the ownership of other human beings under the conditions of the Hebrew Bible are immoral?
Yes.
So how do you account for God commanding something which you now see to be, or rather permitting something, and explicitly giving you details about how to do something which is proactively immoral?
Because he's not permitting me, permitting my great grandfather to do something
immoral.
That in the time was not considered immoral.
It wasn't considered immoral, right. But was it immoral?
By today's standards that were developed by the Judeo-Christian tradition, sure. By today's standards developed under the Judeo-Christian tradition, immoral. So by the way, you're living off you're again, not to get back to the Tom Holland argument, you're living off the remains of this. I mean, where's your morality coming from?
But who's the moral relativist now? I mean, it seems that a moment ago you say that the great success of religion is providing a sort of untouchable moral basis that sort of transcends human affairs and human debates. And now when I say, well, look at this, open your own religious scripture and look at this blatant immorality, you say, yeah, but well, that was considered to be fine at the time. It's considered to be bad now by the progress of Judeo-Christian.
There's a question.
Who's the moral relativist?
Well, it's not relativistic to say that a thing that is wrong today is considered wrong today because of a tradition that developed over time.
The question I'm asking is not, was it considered right or wrong at the time?
It was wrong.
Was it wrong?
It was wrong then to hold a slave. Yes, it was wrong then to hold a slave, obviously. And also, if you are God and you are pragmatically attempting to woo people away from slavery, was it a practicable thing to simply, quote unquote, abolish slavery? Or
here's an idea, for example, in the book of Exodus, God says, I think in chapter 21, maybe 22, it says that if you have a Hebrew slave, you're to let them go after 7 years. If that Hebrew slave comes to you with a wife, then after the 7 years, you let them go too. If you give the Hebrew slave a wife and they have children, then after those 7 years are up, you give the man a choice. He can go after 7 years, as per, but you keep his children and his wife. Or, and here the scripture says, if he says, I love my wife, I love my kids, and my master, as if that's going to be one of the principal considerations, then he can stay with you. At which point you take him outside, you pierce his ear like cattle, and he becomes your property for life. Now, here's a suggestion, for example. If it was already established that Hebrew slaves go after 7 years, and it's already established that if they come with a wife, they can go after 7 years, then if I give them a wife and they have children, would it not be, it doesn't seem to me particularly revolutionary. It doesn't seem to me the kind of thing that would have caused such social discohesion that God just couldn't have found a way to do it, to say, well, why not let the whole family go free after those 7 years? With the knowledge beforehand that if you give this Hebrew slave of yours a wife and children, they'll get to leave with them. That seems to me, for example, a minor improvement that would not cause this kind of revolutionary earth-shifting, he couldn't have just gotten away with slavery. Maybe that's true. But something as obvious as this to me, it seems that if that is the case, that could have easily been done, then the failure to do so and the keeping of that Hebrew wife and their children as the master's property, that itself becomes an immorality that is dictated.
If I agree with your premises, I agree with your conclusion. I think that the question as to how much social discohesion would it have caused to do a thing is an open question. I think the other question that sort of remains open here is the incentive structure as to whether you accept a wife from your master. Right, so I don't want to get into the abstruse. I mean, it's literally all day.
Hey, so my name's Ben. I'm also a Jew. I hate public speaking.
Well, it's the two of us against the world here in Iowa. So.
Yeah. You should grow out your hair. I mean, Jewish people have beautiful hair, man. You should show it off. No, but I'm not here to talk about something that's very funny. I kind of have I don't know much about you, so I have this series of back and forth questions, if that's okay, just before I ask my question. So do you come from Holocaust survivors, or are you a Jewish family that didn't?
So my great-great-grandparents arrived here. A lot of our extended family was killed in the Holocaust, but our immediate
Your
family.
great-great-grandparents, but not your grandparents.
Right.
Oh, do you have friends whose grandparents were Holocaust survivors or anything like that?
Of course, many of them. Yeah, I've helped write memoirs of Holocaust.
Yeah. Their families are kind of messed up, right? My family is very messed up.
I mean, if you go through a trauma like the Holocaust,
they teach that trauma between generations. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, trauma very often in a lot of circumstances is passed down. I mean, I know some kids of Holocaust survivors who turned out fantastic and some who didn't. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. So you are officially woke. That is what wokeness is about. It's like, people's grandparents or their great-grandparents were slaves.
That's okay. That's okay.
Fuck you, I'm talking.
Guys, I actually want to hear. I want to hear. It's okay. I want to hear. Let's at least hear the argument. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Go.
What? He wants to hear it?
I do want to hear it. It's fine. Let him go. Let's hear it.
Come on.
So explain how that's woke.
So, I mean, the whole thing is let's see. So during Silent Cow, Calvin Coolidge's administration, do you know about the Great Mississippi Flood back in the 1930s?
I understand that American history is filled with racial evil.
Yeah. And that causes some intergenerational trauma, which affects people's ability to be effective and things like that.
Fine. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why? So if the idea is that history has consequences, of course that's true. That's not wokeness.
Yeah.
That is not wokeness. What wokeness suggests is that fundamental institutions in American
No,
society
it doesn't. I ran Elizabeth Warren's campaign. I helped organize her volunteers around here. I am a representative of wokeness.
Okay. Well,
And that's just, this is all it is.
Well, I mean,
when I went to go get my first tattoo, the guy had lightning bolts and 88s tattooed on his neck. And as a Jewish person, that's really messed up. It's basically a threat.
There are racist people who exist. The argument that you're making, and I'm going to close with this because this is going in weird directions, and I don't really want to.
No, it's not.
I don't really want to get. Just hold on a second. I let you get out your arguments. Now it's time for me to respond. I let you say.
Okay, I'll let you respond, but
no, not but. Now's my turn.
You are not characterizing what I'm saying accurately.
Now it's my turn. Your definition is inaccurate. The reason your definition is inaccurate is because any sentient human being would acknowledge that history has consequences.
Right.
But if the idea is, but that's not what wokeism is. Wokeism is a different thing. Wokeism suggests that all inequalities of today are attributable to not only historic injustices, but also continuing injustices in the now. And that all disparity is attributable to discrimination. Not just that. Not just that.
Conservative is the only person.
Not just,
I want to know why. Why is it that conservatives are the only people who define it like that? Why are conservatives the only people?
Okay, so we're gonna have to stop here because this is going nowhere. But
What's up?
I'm gonna have to stop with this with you because this is going nowhere. All I'm going to say is this. To
No,
sum up,
I just am trying to understand
disagree
your perspective.
on it.
Just one more second. You say
on a fundamental level, you are shifting definitions to avoid the consequences of your own argument. And if the idea is
it's not free speech. It's being censored.
If you are going to hold on, if you are also just final point to sum up there. Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. So what you actually wrote is you wrote that Gorsuch, like Antonin Scalia, is a proponent of originalism, which means he believes a judge should attempt to interpret the words of the Constitution as they were understood at the time they were written. When the Constitution was written, women couldn't own property. In 1787, women didn't have the right to vote. It would be 133 years before women won that fight, a fight they fought for 72 years. Considering women had no rights when the Constitution was written and there was no mention of women in the Constitution, originalism is sexist. So let me ask you first to expand on that. Is it the Constitution that's sexist or originalism that's sexist, or both?
Well, actually, the original Constitution is sexist. And then the originalist perspective that actually looks to the original document is also sexist. And so we know that when a judge practices originalism, they look backwards. They don't try to see the Constitution in the current context of society. And so by looking backwards, as I said in my piece, at the time the Constitution was written, women didn't have any rights. We were property. So yes, the originalist perspective is sexist. And so I think Neil Gorsuch will not be good for women on the Supreme Court.
Two quick things. One, you're right, obviously. The women did not have rights under the Constitution in many ways. The idea they were property is an overstatement. They couldn't be sold into slavery. I mean, black people were property. Women were not property under the Constitution of the United States. But I do have a basic question here, which is, what do you think a judge's job is? Right? I mean, a judge, from where I sit, and according to the structure of the Constitution, his job is to interpret the law as it's written, not to make up what he wishes the law were. That's what we have legislatures for. That's why we have people who vote on things. The idea that you're going to have some sort of super legislature made up of the great wise men or women who decide what a text means that has nothing to do with the original meaning of the Constitution. What do you think a judge's job should be?
Well, so what an originalist actually does, though, is goes even beyond that interpretation to an originalist thinks that the 14th Amendment, which would actually give women equal protection, based on what we know from Justice Scalia, he didn't actually think that that protected women. And so he thinks that equal protection does not prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. An originalist like Scalia also feels that the right to privacy is not included in the Constitution. And so I understand what a judge's job is, but then we also have, thankfully, the legislature. And so the legislature can pass public policies that will give women rights.
And yeah, to be fair, that's what Scalia says. I mean, that's what Robert Bork says. That's what Justice Thomas says. I'm an originalist. So the originalists say, we say, this is why we have legislatures. The purpose of a legislature is to pass things like the Civil Rights Act of 1964. You don't have judges who just sit there and then pass legislation. This is why we have separate branches. So again, I ask you, you're upset at the outcome of some of what the judges say, because the judges are reading the text according to what texts mean. I mean, it's not poetry. But what do you think a judge should do that is distinct from what a legislature does?
Well, to answer that, I mean, what now is happening is, so the legislature passes a policy to give women greater access. Let's use Hobby Lobby, since that's the case that Neil Gorsuch, ruled on. The Congress passed healthcare reform to allow women to have greater access to birth control. And when that then went through the court process, because conservatives argued against that, when it went through the court process, it was ruled down. And so, we might have the legislature, yes, we have judges, but with an originalist perspective, like Neil Gorsuch's and like Scalia's, when we try to progress women through public policy, it then is still being shot down in the courts, because that originalist perspective, as I mentioned, is a sexist perspective.
Okay, so again, the problem is that, I mean, take Hobby Lobby as an example. It wasn't that Neil Gorsuch is against contraception, presumably. I mean, his church apparently is pro-contraception. The idea that Neil Gorsuch has a personal view that's anti-contraception, that's not accurate. I mean, Neil Gorsuch's view is that there's a First Amendment to the Constitution which protects the freedom of religion of people like the religious owners of Hobby Lobby, and said that they don't have to violate their own religion in the provision of healthcare. Now, you may disagree with that policy. That's why we have an amendment process. So the Constitution does it basically enshrines certain fundamental rights. If we disagree with those fundamental rights, there's an amendment process. Or do you think that we should just get rid of the Constitution completely? Because it seems to me that's sort of what you want. We shouldn't have judges. We shouldn't have judicial review. We shouldn't have a Constitution. We should just have a legislature that does all the things that you want them to do, or judges that just say the legislature can do all those things.
No, not at all. We need to pass public policies, or we could amend the Constitution. And
Right.
women did try that through the Equal Rights Amendment, but that too didn't make it through.
Right.
And so, to your point about Hobby Lobby, it is the first decision where two competing interests, the religious freedom, religious rights of individuals, did actually then trump the rights of those who need access to birth control. And so I think a different judge in that position who doesn't have an originalist perspective like Neil Gorsuch's wouldn't have ruled in that
So
way.
how should a judge read a text? Should a judge just decide what the judge wants to be the law and then just say this is the law? Like, what
No,
standard
not
do
at
you
all.
use?
So my standard is that with the Constitution, I think it was supposed to be a document, a guiding document. And so I don't think anyone at the time the Constitution was written thought that the world would always exist as it was. And so I certainly think we need that text, but we should interpret it in light of what is happening in present day. We've changed a lot as a culture and as a society. And so to assume that you can use a text from hundreds of years ago to decide cases today just seems ridiculous.
Except that we do that with texts literally every day in the courts. We use the Sherman Antitrust Act to rule on antitrust. We use the Food and Drug Administration Act to determine what the FDA is allowed to regulate. Legislation is designed to be interpreted as text. You know, this is just basic legal 101. I mean, you're supposed to read a text as it's written, not as a piece of T.S. Eliot.
Yes, but we use that text to interpret current day problems. And it seems that when it comes to women's rights, originalist perspective tends to side on the air of always looking backward and not looking at current day.
Because they're trying to, because if I wrote a piece of legislation 10 years ago, and I said to you, okay, you and I write a piece of legislation today, right? And we use the language of today. We mean something by that language. In this conversation, somebody will read this 100 years from now, and we will have meant what we're saying to each other. We understand what we're saying. If somebody wants to read what we're talking about today, and then it turns out that all the words that we're using now mean the reverse because things have changed, did our conversation mean the reverse of what it meant, or does it mean what we're talking about right now? Words have meaning at the time they are said, and to try and read new meanings into old words just because quote unquote times have changed, you can end up with some really bizarre results. I mean, and the problem here is that, you know, you may not like what Neil Gorsuch is trying to do, but at least it's a rule of interpretation. In the constitutional structure, what we've had is the Supreme Court very often reversing itself on the exact same language by using the sort of rules that you want. So, for example, in Plessy versus Ferguson, you had the Supreme Court say that the 14th Amendment did not apply to black people insofar as segregation was okay. And then 50 years after that, they say, no, it turns out the 14th Amendment actually meant that segregation is not okay anymore. Well, that's silly. I mean, it either meant one or it meant the other. It didn't mean two different things at the same time. One of those decisions is wrong and one of those decisions is right. That's true for every judicial decision. The idea that we can just look to our hearts to determine what a text meant 200 years ago is silly when we can find out what they meant 200 years ago by reading what they're talking about now.
And yes, I wouldn't disagree. Where you made the point, though, that our conversation we're having today, what we're saying to one another is what we're saying to one another. And if looked at 100 years from now, it would still mean the same thing. But people using our conversation 100 years from now would have to apply it to that current day because it's not going to look the same. And so we do need to look back at texts, but we need to interpret them with the current climate. And so to say that, I mean, Justice Scalia came out and said that the 14th Amendment does not prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. Justice Scalia came out and said that there is no right to privacy in the Constitution.
Right, because there aren't any of those things in the Constitution. If you want to establish one, you create an amendment. There's no right to abortion in the Constitution.
the right to privacy is not the right to have an abortion. The right to privacy also covers the right to access birth control. And so that.
Yes, Griswold versus Connecticut, 1965. I'm well aware of the case, but the idea that the founders, the people who wrote the Constitution, were deeply concerned with access to birth control in the federal Constitution is just silly. This is why we have legislatures. The point is that I'm in favor of availability of contraception. This is why I would elect people who would be in favor of availability of contraception. If you just want the courts to do what you want them to do, why not just appoint a couple of oligarchs? We can have Ruth Bader Ginsburg be our queen, and then we don't actually have to have a legislature anymore. We can skip all these expensive election things. Donald Trump wouldn't be president, and the notorious RBG would just rule us all.
The problem for women in this country is that when we pass public policies to increase our rights, they're then shot down by the court, who doesn't believe what you just explained, that we don't have a right to privacy or that we don't have equal protection under the law.
But when it comes to transgenderism, the argument that is typically made by gender theorists is that gender is entirely separate from sex. You've seen the argument made that it makes no difference on average if men are stronger than women are, and that if we were to allow transgender women to compete with non-transgender women, then this would somehow not disadvantage biological women. And this seems to me absolutely ascientific, that if we're actually going to have a discussion about gender and sex, that should be based in data, which suggests that mammals are in fact binary in terms of their sex, unless you have intersex birth defects typically, or genetic defects.
I'm happy to opine on this. This only matters because today we segregate nearly all sports by gender. Otherwise, how do you even give a shit what someone identifies with? So we live in a free country, and with consenting adults and people free expression of who and what they are.
Man, on an adult level, I agree with you. I mean, it doesn't matter what you teach children.
And so there's the matrix of what you are biologically, how you express yourself, who you choose as a sexual partner. If we actually live in a free country, as we tell ourselves, people's freedom to behave in any of those ways should not concern you at all. They requiring that you behave that way. Okay, wow. This is for their own freedoms, because we live in a free country. Now, what is unresolved here is, what do you do with sports? It's unresolved. I follow that closely, and I don't see any meaningful solutions to come down off of that. We know that hormones manifest differently in different people, and there's the whole thing with steroids. Steroids are hormones, right? And we rallied against steroids in professional sports because it gives you an undue advantage. So I'm trying to think of what the future of sports would be in the world of a gender spectrum. And it may be, you don't specify whether it's a male or female sport. You just take measurements of what your hormonal balances are. And so you compete based on your hormonal. This is what I have. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to land.
The WNBA won't be in business for very long if that's the case.
It would just be you'd have to find some way to compete people against each other. You still care that sports is an interesting activity.
I guess the area where it does come up in a non-sports area.
Yeah, tell me.
So it would be, you talk in your book about the education of children and teaching children about science. And right now, children are being taught about the quote unquote gender spectrum, which is not scientifically based. That is a theory-based idea.
No, wait, hold on. People express themselves on a spectrum. You learn that.
That's a social point, not a scientific point.
It's
meaning we express ourselves based in different languages. Is that something you teach in science class, or is that something that you teach when you're teaching language?
So whether the fact that people want to express themselves on a spectrum, on a gender spectrum, whether that fact is something you want to put in a sociology class, a science class, that remains to be determined. Is a real fact about real society.
Well, of course, nobody's denying that people identify how they want to identify.
So
the question is, what is the relationship of that to biology? Meaning that the argument is made that trans women are women, for example. And what that seems to mean is that trans women are identical to women. Now, people want to say trans women are not biological women. Obviously, that is the case. Don't seem to want to say that, although that is obviously scientifically true. Trans women are not biological women. Biological women are biological women.
But where are you going with this? What are you trying to accomplish? To asking yourself, science or is it not science? It's people in society.
But this is a perfect example of an area where suddenly it doesn't matter to say things that are just true. Like why is it bad or wrong?
I have another way to approach this. I care what is objectively true in the world as a scientist. But let me not say even as a scientist. I just simply care what is objectively true. And science happens to be a pretty potent path to invoke, to find out what is true. And so if people express themselves on a gender spectrum, and that is an actual thing in an actual society, not fully explain that scientifically, that's an interesting frontier to study. If you want to say it's only sociological, then it's the purview of the social sciences. I don't care who studies it. It's an interesting fact about society that's worth learning about. To fight someone and say it's not biological, it's just your this and it's real and it's there.
You can
affirmative action, for example.
I think affirmative action is a way of writing historical injustice is a pretty straightforward policy. It seems to work, and you're dealing with something that has actually happened in American history. To say that you're dealing with a very straightforward effort there to pay down a debt.
Well, so the argument in favor of affirmative action is now being based on the experiences of people presumably under segregation or Jim Crow, and we are now in the year 2010. Yeah, first of all, the efficacy of affirmative action is very much in doubt, according to the research of Thornstroms. But
I disagree with the efficacy is in doubt, but we don't have to go through a review here. But let me ask you this question just straightforward.
Sure.
Why is it that if you are the head of a household, African American household, and you have a job, full-time job, you're going to have a lower net wealth on average than the head of a white household who's unemployed? Or similarly, if you're head of an African American household, you have a college degree, you're likely to have a lower net worth than a white household headed by somebody who dropped out of high school. That is speaking to something that has happened historically, right? Wealth is an intergenerational transfer.
Of course.
At some point, if you want society to be even roughly equal, you're going to have to do something about that intergenerational injustice.
Or alternatively, the idea of equality would be that everyone is treated equally under law, not differentially by race or based on past discrimination.
That is one idea of equality.
Well, this is correct. And this is why when you say why we're polarized, and the implication is that we are polarized because of tribal identity, the real reason I think that we're polarized is because there are two very different visions of the world and how the government ought to operate in that world, meaning that you're positing a sort of Rawlsian view of justice. I fundamentally disagree with the Rawlsian view of justice. I do not think that society or government is in a place to achieve equality of outcome, nor do I think that the attempt to, Thomas Sowell's phrase, to achieve cosmic justice is something that is possible or desirable from the government.
When you say we can't achieve, I can totally buy the argument that you don't want it to, or that you think it would be unfair. But I think there's a very big difference that's important to keep in mind between cannot and should not.
Well, I mean, cannot achieve, you're right, we could achieve equality of outcome. It would involve the oppression of hundreds of millions.
It's not even equality of outcome. You can achieve low levels of reparations for past injustice through things like affirmative action. I mean, we can disagree about whether or not affirmative action works, but positing that it could, just doing a little bit to try to do things about what has happened in the past is not going all the way towards totalitarianism.
Well,
let me actually back this up for a minute.
Well,
I think we should
hold
talk
on
about
a second.
identity and polarization, because I think something in my definition of polarization is getting missed here.
All right, go for it.
So two things. So one, I agree that polarization is dramatically about ideology and dramatically about very different ways of looking at the world. The argument of the book is that what is different right now is that those are sorting so neatly by party. So go back to the 1960s, let's say. Civil Rights Act, right? There's part of the country that is against that, part of the country that is for it. That's clearly a very big difference in belief about how the country should be governed, what we should do, and what is right for the government to do, right? I mean, to take that as more than just a racist argument, there's also a set of arguments about, what is the proper role of the federal government, what are states' rights, etc. what is remarkable about that moment in American politics is it does not split by party. In the House and the Senate, you have a higher proportion of congressional Republicans vote for the Civil Rights Act than Democrats. And then a Democratic president, of course, pushed and signed it. So you have a truly bipartisan effort on civil rights and also a truly bipartisan opposition to it. So it isn't that we have, in my view, deeper ideological differences today than we did then. I think the ideological difference over is segregation by law a okay or even commendable thing to have is a much more dramatic ideological difference than most of what we're dealing with today. The difference is that a lot more of our distinctions drop across party lines, not just ideological, but identity as well. And it is the merging those ideological, identity, experiential, demographic, and then the cutting of them by our politics, it is really different here. So polarization, we've always been disagreeing, and we've had much more dangerous moments of societal fracture than this one. What is distinct about this moment is the degree to which they layer onto party, and then how that interacts catalytically with our American political institutions. So I don't in any way wipe away the idea that there's a great ideological debate to have here. Just that we're not in a new era of great ideological debates, but we're in a new era of this party polarization.
So, I mean, I agree with an enormous amount of that, and that I think is the most solid part of the book. I think that what I disagree with is that the prescription is that identity politics generally should be treated the same based on the group that is claiming identity. Again, I come back to the question. You suggest that the only question is whether a policy is good or bad. Well, good for whom, bad for whom, great for the good for the majority, good for all, good for all, but in the interests of some. Like, how are you defining good? Because I really have serious doubts. And I don't mean to cast aspersions at intent here, but I like, to your credit, I have serious doubts that if a white majoritarian party came up and a white identitarian party and said the interests of white people are the most important here. Also, this policy that is expressly designed to benefit white people happens to benefit everybody else. I doubt you'd be like, oh, well, that's okay because, so sure, they're white identitarians, but that's also helping black people, so that's okay.
I think that depending on how, there are a lot of different ways to think about whether or not policy is good or bad, and we can go through them. But I think that I want to go through identity for a minute here, because one place where I think we disagree a little bit, and one thing that I try to define in the book, is I want people to see identity as, one, obviously something we all have, and you agreed to that earlier, but also it's something that's challenged and activated in politics. And primarily the thing I'm trying to do with identity politics here, I gotta admit, I'm a little bit confused by some of the distinctions you draw, because what we're seeing in politics all the time is that identities converge, they diverge, they activate, they spin down. And we need to see it as a psychological process that spins up. And once it spins up, it changes how we relate to each other, changes how we absorb both contrary and positive information, changes how we feel about the other party. And the idea that everybody has identity and that it all works off a pretty similar psychological basis in the mind, I think that's pretty much unchallenged in social science literature. That's pretty straightforward. And so this idea that you're going to allow some identities into politics and not others, I don't even know how you could do that, even if you wanted to, or even what exactly you mean. Like,
the argument I'm making is that it's more dangerous to graft politics onto certain identities than to others. And I think that's a proposition with which, again,
are racial politics and religious politics, all that, because you cut those apart from each other as religion as something more chosen, people can move in and out of, but look worldwide, there's plenty of religious wars, plenty of religious violence. People cleave to a lot of different identities. Some of them are racial, but also racial identities are more complicated than even I think this conversation is making them sound. They change over time, right? There's a time when the Irish and the Jews were not considered white. Now later on they are.
Sure, but that's not nearly as flexible as simple political affiliation based on tax rates, for example.
Right, but that's why I use religion as the example. Tax rates, I agree.
Even use religion as an example. One of the things that the founders, I think, very wisely did is they stumped in favor of separation of church and state, specifically to minimize the impact of a state being made the weapon of a particular religious sect. So the founders recognized the problems of religious identitarianism.
Right. I think you're arguing for my position.
No, the opposite. I'm arguing that affiliation, specifically by there are gradations in the dangers to be posed by affiliation with particular identity groups and how those manifest in politics. And I'll agree with you that religion is in some ways, because it is largely inherited from parents, and because it is not directly politically related in some ways, that in some ways it stands between sort of the poles of race and, say, tax rates. But there are gradations there, and I think that to pretend that these are all the same, which is sort of what you claim in the book, that all identity groups to which you choose affiliation should be treated equally in politics, and that when politicians appeal to those identity groups, that is
I don't think I believe that at all.
Well, so then clarify for me, okay? So I'm a bit confused. So clarify for me, do you think that there are increasing or divergent dangers based on attempts to appeal to particular senses of identity in American politics?
Let me think for a second what I think about this. I don't think it is different now than it has ever been. If anything, one of the arguments I make in the book is that identity politics is paradoxically weaker now as we see it more clearly. So one of the big picture arguments I make in the book is that we are in an era of very rapid demographic change. So we are en route to being a majority minority nation racially by about 2043. We've seen the percentage of Americans that are foreign born go from about 4% in 1973 or 4, I think it was, to about 14.5% now. That's a couple points off from a record, but we're expected to hit a record. And then to bring religion into this, we are again en route to seeing the religiously unaffiliated become the single largest religious group. Again, that's expected by demographers in about the 2040s. So about 7 out of 10 seniors are white and Christian. Only 3 out of 10 people under 30 are white and Christian. It's a very, very rapid change in religious mores in the country. And all that is creating a lot of pressure on the system. But one of the things it's creating is an ability for groups that traditionally have not been strong enough to put their needs and their claims onto the political agenda to do exactly that. And that's why one of the arguments I make is that identity politics is often most powerful when we don't see it clearly at all. I mean, you said already in this conversation that white identitarianism has been one of the foundational sins in American political life for a very long time. Oftentimes it is acted
white identitarianism.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oftentimes it is acted almost completely invisibly. Like one of the points I make in the book is that presidential cabinets for the vast majority of American history were just all white men. And when that was going on, nobody said, identity politics, like only white men are being chosen for this. But then if somebody comes out and says, I think we need a cabinet that looks like America, or a cabinet that is 50% female, whatever it might be, that all of a sudden is identity politics. So to your question about whether or not—
I agree with that critique.
Right.
I mean,
So this is why I'm saying that—
Not your critique. I agree with the point.
one?
So I agree with the point that it is more identity politics to suggest today that we ought to, that in today's politics, forget about 60 years ago. I agree that it was unspoken white identitarianism to have only white males at the cabinet table. Agreed. Today, if somebody says two policies, one is whoever is most qualified gets into the cabinet. Somebody else says, I need a transgender person on this to pick my Secretary of Education, as Senator Warren recently sort of suggested. The secondary claim is to me significantly more disturbing than the meritocracy claim, no matter where things come down.
I want
preference?
to hold for a minute on first the first question, then I'll go to your second question, which is, my point is simply that identity politics has always been part of America.
My eyes are starting to drag. I gotta take a break. Dang, I wanted to finish this wood grain before I left, but it's coming along. I'll definitely try to get back up in here this afternoon. See if we can do a little bit more. Man, I might need to go back to sleep for like an hour or so. No problem, Winnie. You know I love it. You know I love being in the damn studio. We did a solid 3 hours though. That's not bad. A solid 3 hours this morning. I knew this wood grain was gonna be a little challenging. But also, it is looking pretty good. Starting to, I'm gonna drop my phone. Starting to get those nice little highlights in the wood to pop out. All right, it takes a minute for me to get back in the hang of that thing, but now I know exactly which colors I'm using and where I'm placing them at. So if I do come back in here, I think it'll go a little bit faster than it was to start with. But all the leather is done. Like I said, we'll put some more bright white highlights on the leather next time we deal with that. The wood grain, that wood grain is looking so good right now. It's just going to take a little bit longer because I mean, this painting is going to be one of those really standout pieces. Man, I've been doing some good work this year. It's just so tedious. so tedious and time consuming. And I don't know, I feel really sleepy right now. I might just go lay down for a minute. Honestly. I appreciate you hanging out with me in the studio this morning. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. We're out here.